Welcome to the Private Practice Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Brooklyn Storme, here to help you unlock the mind, business, and spirit of your private practice success. So whether you're just starting out or you're looking to grow, this is the place for you if you really want to create a thriving private practice. Before we dive in, I want to share something that can really make a difference in your business. Imagine having an expert in your pocket, someone available on demand whenever you need guidance. Well, that's exactly what my new program, Practice Momentum, offers. With over 30 years of experience at your fingertips, you can now get the support you need whenever you need it. Curious? Head over to brooklynstorme.com to learn more. Oh my goodness, don't you just love when your computer doesn't update without telling you? I've come into GarageBand this morning to record this podcast. This is like my fourth attempt because I don't know if you're familiar with this software or not, it doesn't matter, but it shows you a little line and the line goes, up and down like squiggly, like an ECG or something. Best way I couldn't describe it, to show that it's picking up your voice, and for some reason it's looking like it's almost flatlining. So I start recording and then I get worried and then I, stop and then I go and check that it's actually picking up my voice, and it is. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. I have very interesting news to share with you around social media because I've been doing a little bit of an experiment, and I'm going to tell you some of what's been going on with that because oh, you know me, for the longest time, I've been warding people off posting on their Facebook business page because it has notoriously low reach. Okay. However, despite my warnings, listen to me. It's the autism, right? I get a little bit bossy, don't I? Somebody said that to me the other day. Was one of the ladies in Practice Momentum. She was asking me for something, and then I was, giving her my thoughts, and then she sent me the emoji of somebody saluting. Anyway, thank you for accepting me as I am. I don't mean to obviously boss anybody around, but it comes from a place of, I guess, I want to give you the lowdown. I want to give you the straight talk so that you don't waste your time. And it really irks me when I see people wasting their time because you have gifts and you need to be getting that out there to the world. And when you're doing it on a Facebook business page, it's just like, oh my gosh, like that time that you spent writing that post and making the image and all of those kinds of things was literally wasted. It could have been spent doing other things. And that's where my frustration comes in, because I want you to be working with people, right? But I'm not saying you specifically, obviously, but there's like a belief that you got to be all over socials and this, that, and the other. You don't. There are plenty of people who have a booked practice, very successful, good work-life balance, no burnout, pay themselves into their superannuation, things like that, and they're not on social media. But anyway, because people haven't been heeding my warning, I thought, okay, I'm not going to fight it anymore. I am just going to see what I can do to help these beautiful souls out, because clearly it's where they need to be right now, which is totally fine. So as I was there and I was like, what's this actually going to look like? Because, I know it's like super hard. Like when I say super hard to get anything from your Facebook business page, you got to remember that Facebook is all about community, okay? It's all about connection and it's all about conversations and things like that. The function of a business page is, there's a few functions. One of them is to, I guess, give credibility to what you're doing by having another placeholder. Do you need it? Probably not. I mean, a client's still going to Google you, right? Your website's not going to be necessarily the first place they find you, but it's going to be the place where more than 80% of them make their decision about whether or not to work with you. So do you really need a Facebook page as a placeholder? Probably not. But I mean, if you're looking at getting people from within the app or from within, the platform, then sure, maybe why not? Okay. And then the other function of it is for Meta to verify that you're a legit business, so it can send you bills when you do things like boost posts and advertise, like run paid ads and things like that. So that's like mostly what they're for. Now, there are businesses, absolutely, that do well from their Facebook business page. And not many of them are in private practice. And that's for lots of reasons, right? So trust me, I've done my research on this, and it's like very, very challenging for a private practice, for a therapist. And I think that comes because of the nature of the work that we do, the vulnerability of our clients, the stigma that can be associated with, commenting on a post, because then, that's going to come up in all their friends and family's feeds and, all the things. So I think that's probably still, even though it's 2020 to 2025, I think that's still maybe part of it. But I sat with it and I thought, yep, I'm just going to have a go. I'm going to try and come up with a way. And so anyway, I thought what I'll do is test stuff. So I was trying to be really innovative because I love to come up with new ways of doing things, as you know, aka booked and better. And I was there and I was thinking, okay, what could be a new way of working on a Facebook business page that would actually get clients and stuff like that for my clients. And so with that, I started to do a little bit of an experiment. And you know me, if you're in Practice Momentum, we're all about tracking the data. So I made data informed decisions based on what was going on the Facebook business page. So what ended up happening was I got inspired by someone in Momentum who had a freebie, and the freebie hasn't been getting downloaded. And so we were having a conversation. I was talking to her about, well, how are you getting it out there? And she was like, well, it's on my website. Isn't that enough? I was like, no. Not the whole point, but one of the points of it is to raise awareness around the practice and what you're doing. Now, if people don't know you've got a practice and they don't know what you're doing, they're not going to know necessarily to come over to the website to get your free thing, especially if you're not talking about it anywhere. So that kind of inspired me. It planted a bit of a seed, and I thought, okay, what can we do here? And so I just started promoting my freebie on my Facebook business page. And I did it with story, right? Because I really do believe, as you've heard me say loads of times, I'm sure, that your marketing is so easy. Like, I think we get in our heads about it because either we had a bad experience being marketed at or to, or we see other people just do it really badly and we think, oh my gosh, if that's the standard, like if I have to go posting this link and I have to post about my availability and I have to do this and I have to cold DM people, like that's just not me. I don't want to do that. Of course you're going to hate it and you're going to be resistant. Those people aren't doing it, I think, the right way. I think that they've perhaps not learned themselves, or they're using strategies and approaches from completely different industries that just don't work for ours, which is why you're looking at it and feeling incongruence. Your marketing is so easy, I believe, because you're looking to attract and convert people who, they're going through something, right? So they're vulnerable. Maybe they do have a diagnosis. Maybe they have recently been assessed. Maybe they don't have any of that. Maybe they're going through a relationship breakup, right? Doesn't matter. But there's some degree of vulnerability there. And so we need to talk with those people a lot differently to say how a coach would talk to somebody, or how a retailer or a hospitality, sector business would talk, right? And different approaches. They're going to use discounts, coupons, buy one, get one free, or all those kinds of things. We don't do any of that. They will be putting links up and stuff, but, people generally don't get offended by that because it's retail or hospitality, for example. But for us, it's a service-based business, and we're working with clients who are, usually in the thick of it. And so we don't use those strategies. Our strategies are really around rapport and connection, because we want to develop trust. And so trust can't happen without that rapport and connection. This is why when you just posting other people's stuff, or you're posting about your availability, or you're posting generic stuff, it doesn't convert. So you might be putting in the hours, and you might be, clocking up the number of posts and things like that, but it just won't be working. And you'll be thinking to yourself, Facebook doesn't work, Facebook sucks, all of this. It's not that, it's just that it needs something else, right? You are working hard. It's just you're doing the wrong things, and you don't know perhaps that you're doing the wrong things. And so you just keep on doing them. And then this can sort of, I guess, the longer it goes on, the more defeated you can feel. And then that can create vulnerabilities within you. And then you start to think, what's the point? I don't want to show up. Nobody's interested in me. Maybe I need another qualification. All the things, right? We've all been there, myself included. Anyway, the reason that I use story was because I believe that story is a wonderful connector. I think it's very, very powerful. Stories have been told throughout the ages as a way of, keeping records, education, teaching people, even right back to fables and things like that. Like, there's a thread throughout history of the power of a story. And it's why even when I'm here, I'm just sharing with you my experiences, but maybe you're hearing them as stories, right? I'm not coming on here reading out, figures and data, and, well, I do sometimes, I know. But I'm sharing with you my experience. I told you about what's happening at Dalesford. I told you about the Reiki thing. I've told you about manifesting my home over here. But I also talk with you about, the challenges and struggles I had with my practice, but also the things that are working now. So you're getting to know me through the information that I'm sharing it. And when I do these podcasts, for example, it's just me like freeballing over here. I'm just talking off the top of my head, and it feels to me as if, in a way, you're here with me, and maybe we're just having a coffee, and this is how I would talk with you. And in fact, when people, reach out, maybe they want to work with me and they might book a conversation, a call or something like that, a lot of the time people will say, oh my gosh, you're just like you are on your podcast, or you're just like you are on Facebook in real life. And that's great because it shows the congruence, and again, it deepens the trust. And I believe in that so much. It's how I show up, and it works for me. And that's why I share it with you. So I used my freebie and I shared it. I told a story about it, relating it just to my own experience. And I'm just going to bring up the page now. So if you hear clicking, it's just me getting out of GarageBand and going into my Facebook business page. So yeah, it's been, as I said, 4 weeks, and I'm going to share with you some embarrassing data. So yep, I'm just scrolling back through my posts. The first one that I didn't get too much traction, right? So I do regularly post on my Facebook business page. I have 5,500 followers. A lot of the time, only 1 or 2 or 3 people will ever engage or comment. That happens for a number of reasons, right? It's really, 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 really low reach on a Facebook business page unless you're paying for ads, right? They don't want to give you the reach unless you pay, usually. So there's that. The other things that I kind of post are like stuff about national standards. I shared information about the psychology board and updating the code. My podcast automatically shares from Podbean to the page. So there's stuff going on there pretty regularly, but hasn't always been like stuff I've carefully curated, right? But anyway, I told a story about my freebie. It went up on the business page. It had like 2 people asking for it. Disappointing? Yes, especially because it took me so long to make and I put so much thought into it. And I know it's good and I know it works, but for some reason, didn't resonate. I also put it in my free Facebook group so that people there could have it in case they weren't following my business page. And I also put it on my personal profile. But anyway, overall, really low, okay? Not much movement happened there. What I did though was, as I said, approached it as an experiment. So, went in, had a look at the insights, had a look at my page insights, got a lay of the land, because of course when you're doing an experiment you need a baseline, right? You need to know what's the starting point over here. And just like when we're in momentum, we talk about, well, where's the starting point, in relation to the goal or the money or this or the clients or that. We need that, otherwise we can't measure. So anyway, I had to go and refamiliarize myself with that, which is really hard. You want to cringe. It's like embarrassing. You feel defeated. It's like, oh my gosh, like it's really hard to look at the numbers sometimes. I get it. But anyway, I used the numbers and based on those made some changes to how I was going to share another freebie. So I went away, made a second freebie, decided I was going to post that a week later. So I'm trying to post one a week on a Thursday or a Friday. So the next one I did, and I changed the style and I wrote a story again. This one had no comments on the business page, but it did have a couple of downloads in the community and on my personal profile, right? Again, I went in, looked at the insights, and I could start to see, oh, okay, this thing over here worked, that didn't, And so I start tweaking again and I go and make a third freebie and I put it up the next week. And I'm just scrolling up so I can find it. And I was really proud of this one. I really, 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 really love this one. This one I thought was going to be a winner because this freebie was all about how to use Facebook to build your practice. And I know so many women in my audience are using Facebook and it's not working. So I thought I'm going to show them like how you can get it to work. And this is going to be the freebie. But it didn't have any comments on the business page. It had a few downloads, I think, in the community and a couple on my personal page. But overall, it was crickets. It was like radio silence and I could not believe it. I was exasperated. I even included like screenshots of proof that I know what I'm doing over here. And it was around this time that, this week and the week before, Facebook started to like pay me some attention. And I'm not sure why, because as you heard, there wasn't that much action really happening. But I started to get recognition from Facebook in terms of, what did they say? I'm just clicking on my own link there. So one said you're an emerging talent, which said that this badge recognizes you for creating engaging content that sparks an interest among your fans. So I don't know how they arrived at that conclusion, but anyway, because clearly it didn't. But of course I'm going to like accept the badge. And then 2 days after that, they gave me another badge, which said that I was a fan favorite. And it said that recognizes you for consistently having meaningful conversations with your fans while sharing unique, relatable content. So that happened because I think it was starting to get used to me making up these new posts with my freebie. And then a couple of days after that, it all happened so quickly. A couple of days after that, the second or third freebie had gone up and I got another badge that says I got the Rising Creator badge. And it said that this badge recognizes you for posting content that's original, it's resonating strongly with your audience, and it meets quality standards. So, I'm doing all of this work. It's looking to me like nothing's happening, but Facebook are like, yes, actually, bucket loads is happening behind the scenes. From where we're sitting, Brooklyn, there's a lot happening and we want it to keep going. And so we're going to encourage you with this badge here, that badge there, that badge there. And guess what? I felt encouraged. So the reason that I felt encouraged was because with each little badge that they started to give me, they gave me extra reach on past posts or relevant posts and things like that. And I worked it out and it came to the equivalent of $600 a month in paid ads. So yeah, for each batch. And I had 3 on the go in October, spanning the course of about, 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. So I was getting like $1,800 because 6 threes are 18, right? So I was getting about $1,800 worth of paid ads that I wasn't paying for. And I don't mean literally I had ads. What I'm saying is you run an ad so that you can do any number of things, but usually it's going to be to raise awareness, to get people over to your page, to get downloads of your thing, to make a sale, all of that kind of stuff. And that costs money. So Facebook have been showing my stuff now to so many more people, and I haven't had to pay it. That's what I mean about it's the equivalent of getting free advertising. So yeah, I'm not going to say no. And of course I accepted the badges. If somebody said to you, here's a coupon for $600 of Facebook ads, would you take it? Yes. So anyway, I thought because I had all the proof of this and how it's working and, that everybody would be so interested, but they weren't. And then I started to get curious because now it's like we're in week 3 or whatever it is. Go and check my insights again. And I'm like, okay, I will do another freebie because I'm determined to get it right. I get fixated. So then I did the next one, and the next freebie was a mini business plan for people who are starting their private practice. And this one started to gather momentum, right? So it got 9 comments, and I put it in my community and on my profile, and I've had some downloads, right? That was very encouraging. I went and checked my insights, and it's like, okay, now I'm starting to get the feeling of what my audience likes, and I use the information again to make some more changes, and I made a 5th freebie. So I'm saying, you can't just have one freebie and expect that you're gonna get millions of clients. It doesn't work like that. You can hear all the testing I've been doing. And this is just for my audience, right? And you're gonna have to do it for your audience, because what's working for my audience is you guys are women business owners, right? So you can't take my for example, if you went over and you were like, oh, I'm just going to copy what Brooklyn's doing, it wouldn't work for you because you don't work with my clients. And as you can hear, I've had to refine over 4 or 5 weeks. And this is the process I'm sharing with you. You will need to do it with your audience and see what lands with them, right? With the mums who've got the ADHD, or, with the divorced dads, or with the grief and loss, it's going to be completely different. But anyway, the point is use the data. So anyway, I did that, use the data, refined again, and hit the jackpot. So this was freebie number 5. And so we're in week 5 of the experiment at this point, which was Friday last week. So it hasn't even been up for a week yet. It's had 109 comments on the business page. It's had 200 on the share that I put of it into my counselling community, and it's had probably another 75 or 80 on my personal profile and things like that. So this one, I know it's really, really working. For me, it's just gone off, but it wasn't my first attempt, and I had to make new content. I had to present it differently. I had to change the way I was, did I say present? Or all of that, right? And anyway, what ended up happening was I put this up on Friday afternoon, and then later that day, or Saturday morning, so not even 24 hours later, I get this message from Facebook going, hey, we would love to invite you to monetize your content. And I was blown away because, who doesn't want to make money off, Facebook for promoting your stuff? Now, literally, I'm getting paid to promote my freebie. I mean, it's crazy. It's wild, but it's kind of cool at the same time. So anyway, yeah, I went and submitted all the paperwork, and I had to do stuff around a USA TIN, it's a tax information number or something. I had to go and do all that paperwork, blah, 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 did it. And yeah, within probably about an hour or so of doing that, it was like approved right away. And I got my first notification of money coming in to my account on Facebook. And guess how much I got? I got 1 cent. I don't know what I was expecting, but I have to tell you, the dopamine was quite a rush. And then it inspired me and it motivated me. And I was like, this is so interesting. And when I go and have a look in my dashboard now, I can see it shows me my posts. And now that I'm monetizing the content, it will show me what posts are getting paid. And it's very, very interesting because there are posts that I thought were like I would pay for those posts if I was Facebook. But no, turns out Facebook pay for different stuff. For example, I can see that one of my most popular posts, apart from my last freebie, which was about how to make money in your private practice without doing more one-to-one sessions, the other thing that tends to get so much more reach is photos. So when I put a photo of myself, that gets like so much reach. It's like 3,000 people see that versus if I just put up an image or I just do text alone, it's like maybe 30 people and I've got 5,500 followers, right? So that's what I mean. Like you think, I just need more followers. No, you don't need more followers. It's not about that. Like that's not what Facebook take into consideration. That's not an important metric for Facebook. And it shouldn't be for you either. That's a vanity metric. It feels nice to have people follow you, sure. But what feels nicer is when they take an action with your business, like getting a freebie, okay? Or booking an inquiry call or asking if they can work with you and all those kinds of things, right? So I'm learning that the things I thought Facebook would want to pay me for are not the things that Facebook are interested in paying me for. And if I just click on my professional dashboard now, I can see, what are we up to here? We are up to 78 cents in earnings since Saturday. I know I'm going to make $1 million from this, but get this, because Facebook are loving what I'm doing right now, they're giving me a lot more reach, which means my stuff is getting viewed a lot more. And what I can see just looking today, Wednesday, the 12th of November at 8:43 in the morning, is my data shows that, it's 39,000 people now. So I'm just rounding up to 40,000 people in the last week. That's an increase of 460%. Amazing, right? That's a lot of people looking at my stuff now. And that's very important because a lot of those people weren't in my world, had never heard of me. And this is, remember we were talking in a previous episode about the marketing funnel and how awareness is the top people can't come into your funnel if they don't know that you're there. And so this means that a bunch of those, views are real people. Now, yes, some of those people probably came back and looked at the post 3 or 4 times, or they came back the following day to see what else I'd posted, or maybe they clicked on a story. So they're not all different people, but a bunch of those people will then move into the next thing and they're going to be interested, and they were. And they're the ones, 300 or 400 of them actually, that have downloaded my freebie now. That's 300 or 400 people who are like interested in this thing, they're interested in me, they're interested in my business. And now of those 300 or 400 people, some of those will then start thinking about, maybe she's onto something here. Maybe, I might want to see what else she's got. Maybe I might want to go and check out the Etsy store. Maybe I might want to go and check out the DCS. Maybe I might want to. So they're starting to consider things now. Starting to consider. And then of all those people start considering buying from me, working with me, all of the things, some of those will then go to the next part down the funnel, and they're going to be like, I'm pretty sure that I do want to work with her. And they might stay there for a while because maybe they're thinking, but I will wait until I finish my qualification, but I will wait until after Christmas. But, there's going to be that. And there will also be other people who are just like, I only found her last week. I don't know her well enough yet, and it's going to cost me 10 grand to go and work with her. So I think I just want to get to know her a little bit more. So they might start listening to the podcast or reading my emails or coming into the group or something like that, but they stay in that little part of the funnel there. And eventually, when the time's right, some of those people will then take an action, whether it's buying the essential forms in private practice, whether it's reaching out for a strategy session, whether it's, joining Momentum, something like that. Do you see? But they're people that never knew I existed a couple of weeks ago. It's fascinating stuff. I mean, seriously, you got to look at your data, and and the only reason I was able to do this was because I was looking at my data, right? So anyway, it's like so good. What else? Yeah, in your professional dashboard as well, they give you, they being Meta, Facebook gives you, recommendations for what you can do to increase your reach. So reach just means how many people Facebook show your post to, or show your page to. You have the option of linking your accounts. They give you information on what you can do to get your page recommended. So my page gets recommended, and what that looks like is when people are going into Facebook and they're searching for private practice or counselling or psychology or something like that, my page gets recommended, even if they're in another group, right? There'll be a little banner sometimes at the top of the group that Facebook put up. It's a temporary banner. You just click the cross to make it disappear, but it will say other groups recommended for you, or it might say something like other members in this group over here are also members of Brooklyn's group over here, and it puts a picture of me and my group, and people can click that and they can come and join. And lots of people did join the free group, right? It's fascinating. You really, really do need to look at the data. Apart from that, I'm just having a quick look here to see if there's anything else that I need to share with you that will help you. Okay, so I did a text post last night at 10 p.m. That's earned me a couple of cents. One of my stories earned me a couple of cents. What's earning the most? It's my freebie, hands down. My freebie got me 65 cents, and that was shown to 4,500 people. And then, or it had 4,500 views, I should say. So not 4,500 people. It might have just been 2,000 people looking at it, 10 times each or something. And then the other one was I did a post just saying thank you to my newest followers. That had 3,000 reach. But there are a lot of things in here that get 0 reach, 0 followers, 0 interaction, 0 contents, and 0 distribution. There's just dashes next to distribution. So yeah, I mean, if I focus on all the things that Facebook didn't show to anybody, which is the majority of my posts, Facebook is saying they haven't shown to anyone. Thanks a lot, Facebook. It proves my point, right? About don't waste time on your Facebook business page. I'm in my dashboard now, look, with a following count of 5,500 people, and Facebook is showing me, yeah, hey, Brooklyn, that's great, but we don't actually show your post to anyone, right? The only things that are getting distribution are some of the recent things since I've been doing my experiment, basically. I know. It's fascinating. So if you want to get clients off your Facebook business page, but not only that, I think any social page, I think you need to be doing things that get your you got to give, obviously, and that means sharing your stories, really connecting with people, sharing your freebie, and not just whacking up a, image of your freebie. It's got to look nice. It's got to look appealing. It's got to look, it's got to resonate with your audience, and your audience will tell you if it's resonating or not. If they're not commenting, if they're not liking, if you're not getting any distribution, they're not loving what you're putting out. That's helpful information. It just means keep what you've got, but present it differently. Maybe change the title. It was like I've got these, I was doing some training on all of this for Practice Momentum, and it will go into their library in the next week or so. But in there, one of the things that I was showing them was how you can make a tiny change and it really does make a big difference. And I was showing them how on my page where people go and, put their email address to get the free things, I did an experiment, and you could see that on the way I presented it originally had nothing. And then when I made one change only, I had 33 downloads in 24 hours with one change, and it wasn't even a big change. So don't just think, I've got the free thing, what's next? It's not what's next. It's why isn't it working? Fix it. Okay, you don't need to just make more and more and more and more stuff that no one's going to download. That's not going to resonate with people. That's not going to get you a client. Fix the thing that's not working. And the only way to do that is by looking at your numbers. All right, look at your numbers. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope it was insightful. What I want you to take away from this is that when you look at your numbers, you can get a challenging platform like a Facebook business page. As you heard, like I can totally show you, barely any of my posts under distribution have ever been shown to anyone. Literally, they just go in the feed. And Facebook are not making any bones about it. They're putting it right there for me to see in black and white. So look at your numbers, get inspired by this, see what's possible for you. I have 300 or 400 people all moving through my funnel now, right? Let me just do some quick maths for you here to show you why this is so important. So we know a pathway usually converts between 2 and 3%. So if I just go on the low end and I say, what is 2% of 400, right? That is 8. So if 8 people end up working with me in Momentum, that's $80,000 for my business. Was it worth $80,000 for me to spend 4 weeks tweaking, changing, adjusting, reviewing, adapting? I'm going to say yes. Who wouldn't want to make $80,000 in 4 weeks? It's a no-brainer. You got to start thinking about your business and your freebies and all of these kinds of things from a business mindset. Okay, stop making more stuff. Fix the stuff you've already got. If you had 400 people and it was 2% conversion, let's say you had 3% conversion, what's that? That's 12, right? And your average, so that's 12 people end up converting, end up working with you. 12 times the average session fee of $160. That freebie just made you $2,000. Is it worth it now for you not to make another thing, but instead fix the thing you've got? I think it's worth it. Just saying. All right, my lovelies. Have a beautiful, 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 beautiful day. Oh, the other thing too that has helped, which might help you as well, super quick. I do post it on my business page and my personal profile, and then share it to my stories with a link. And I make the little story different every day. By using like a different sentence or asking a question or using a sticker. And sometimes I'll use a picture of it. Sometimes I don't use a picture at all. Sometimes I just use a picture of me or me and Buddy. Sometimes I don't. Mix it up and you will start to see what's working. Promoting to stories does work. I know this for a fact because with my Etsy store, which is going great guns, by the way. I will tell you about that another time because I've got 5 minutes before I've got to go. I've got a client in 5 minutes. So what was I going to say? I've just forgot. Oh, yeah. With Etsy, you can have a look at your earnings. And when I share a link, people use that link and I get a discount on the Etsy fees, which aren't that much, to be honest. But anyway, I will still take a discount because hello, manifesting abundance over here, right? Calling in prosperity. Of course, I'm going to use that link. So I share my thing using that link. And then I can see in the earnings of all the people that have bought from me, almost half of them have used the link that I've been putting in my stories. That tells me that posting in my stories gets me sales. I wouldn't have known that if I wasn't tracking my links. Track. Okay? That is the thing. I know you're going to think it sounds boring, but how boring is it to think if I track this thing, I might make $2,000, right? I might add another $2,000 to my bottom line. And get this, the average number of sessions attended is between 10 and 20 in a calendar year for a client. So if we take 12 people times 160 a session, and they all have, let's just take the lower of the 10 to 20 and just say 10, that's $19,000 right there. Is it going to be worth $19? If I said to you, hey, I've got some freelancing work for you to do. I just want you to, work on this freebie until it starts converting and I'll pay you $20,000. Would you say yes to that? Pretty sure you would. So why not do it for yourself, for your own business? Give yourself the 20 grand. It ain't hard. It is boring. You are going to go through an emotional roller coaster, but hey, you come out smiling. I hope this was helpful. I'm going to have to go now, but have a fantastic day. If you need any help with your private practice, of course, just let me know. You can send me an email, support@brooklynstorme.com, or you can just, as you know, tag me on Facebook. I'll talk with you soon, my lovelies. Have a beautiful day. Bye. And that's a wrap for this episode of the Private Practice Podcast. So as you reflect on today's insights, imagine creating real success in your private practice without going down rabbit holes or exhausting yourself with business activities that don't move the needle. With Practice Momentum, you have push of a button help available on demand. It's like having an expert in your pocket ready to guide you whenever you need it. Visit brooklynstorme.com to discover how Practice Momentum can transform your approach to building a thriving practice. I'm Dr. Brooklyn Storme, and I'll see you next time as we continue exploring the mind, business, and spirit of private practice success.